because yes, I am going to attempt to do another readathon. I'll also list their Instagram name, and you know, and connecting with their readers in like the kind of the very so books I, you know, want to read but haven't. Hi everyone, it's Audrey and welcome back to Chapter and Converse. Today's video is going to be my TBR for the upcoming BookList Readathon, which takes place from April 1st to April 7th. So tomorrow at the time that you're watching this video. And yes, I'm late to the game because part of me was like moderately scarred from how bad I did at the last Buzzwordathon. If you haven't seen my March catch-up video, I basically was in like a giant life rut slump reading creatively across the board. So I only read one book during that, but I really adore Sarah and Lindsay's channels. So it's Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand and Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library. I love their BookList Thursdays, which is something that they do together. And every Thursday there's a prompt, whether it's like most recommended thrillers, or it could be like anticipated reads, or sometimes they do seasonal lists. They get ideas from their subscribers. They obviously get ideas from one another, but it's always a 5-point list. And the idea of this readathon is there's 5 prompts, so it all connects. And this is the first readathon that they're doing, so I also want to support them both because, as I said, I love their channels. They are like 2 of the very first people that I started to follow on BookTube and kind of introduced me to this world. So I am doing it. I'm going to give it my all. I may have a book that satisfies 3 of the 5 challenges, and I've got a book that does like 2 of the 5, so I'm not totally stacking it in my favor, but I'm also being creative, and that's what they're all about too. So without any further ado, let's get into my list. The first prompt is to read a 5-star prediction, and I'm going to read My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. So this is a brand new release. It just came out this week. This has been on my most anticipated list. This is by far one of the books I'm most excited about reading this year, and I may have just found myself in the bookstore earlier this week looking for a self-esteem reading boost and a coupon in hand, and I picked this up. So normally, recently I've been trying to just control my spending, especially with new books by authors I don't know, especially hardcovers. But like I said, it was a sale on sale. I am coming out of a slump. I needed a little something to kickstart things, and I am predicting that this is going to be the one. So I've mentioned this before on my channel, but super briefly, this is being pitched as Mr. and Mrs. Smith meets Dexter. And it is a married couple with kids living in the suburbs, and their marriage has just gotten kind of like routine and dull, and there's not much excitement happening. So I guess to spice it up, they decide to kill people. And that's about all I know. That's all I want to know. I love the concept of this. I don't know why this just completely intrigues the crap out of me. And I've heard great reviews from people who have had arcs of it. Obviously there's some positive, reader plugs on it. Harlan Coben is quoted on here. There's a bunch of great stuff on the back. CJ Tudor, Sarah Pinborough, Liv Constantine, Heather Graham. So I'm very excited about this. This is my 5-star prediction, and I'm going to be reading this one first because I literally cannot wait to dive in. The second prompt is to read a book that either Sarah or Lindsay has recommended. So if you, like I said, if you are not familiar with their channels or you're new to them, definitely hop on their channels, and you can hop on either like their BookList Thursdays where they have a bunch of recommendations, or like their monthly wrap-ups and get a ton of ideas. They read across genres, so there's kind of something for everybody there. But I am picking Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. And I had originally heard about this book from Heather at Bookables, and Sarah read this pretty recently, I want to say, and raved about it and was kind of saying how, like, even after she read the book, she was still thinking about the characters and absolutely adored it. So this is, I would say, kind of like women's fiction, I would call it. And it's about Macy and Elliot, who are people who met as children. So I think it's like either like Macy's family has a summer home near where Elliot lives, or vice versa. So they meet at this kind of summer home area when they are children, and then I think they get together, have a relationship as they get older, then they break up, don't know why, and then they meet again kind of like 10 or so years later, and we're kind of off to the races. So I believe it goes kind of backwards in time. You see their relationship develop, you see why they break up, you see them back together again where they are at this stage. But all I know is Heather and Sarah completely raved about this book. I have never read a Christina Lauren before. I'm just super excited about this one. So this is my Sarah recommendation. The next prompt is to read a book by a new to you author. And I am picking The Wife Between Us by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. And this book came out last year. So An Anonymous Girl, which is not a sequel, but a book that they wrote together, just came out this year. But I have heard amazing things about The Wife Between Us also from lots of booktubers, lots of reviews. And this is, I think, like psychological thriller, I would call it. And I'm just going to read a little bit from the front jacket to give you a hint of it. And again, I don't know too much about the story, but I like it that way with these psychological thrillers. And it says, when you read this book, you will make many assumptions. You will assume you're reading about a jealous ex-wife. You will assume she is obsessed with her replacement, a beautiful younger woman who is about to marry the man they both love. You will assume you know the anatomy of this tangled love triangle. Assume nothing. So I don't even know what all that's about, but it sounds like there's twists. It sounds like there's just some good quality storytelling happening in this one too. I am also super happy that I was able to get the audio version of this on Hoopla, and it's the only book that I have that I was able to get an audio of. And to be totally honest, the only way I'm going to be able to even attempt to read 5 books, which I don't think I'm going to do, is to have it on audio. But I'm slowly becoming addicted to audiobooks, which is new for me. And I do like to kind of do a little bit of both, where I can listen to the audio when I'm driving or doing something like that, but then I can come home and sort of pick it up in the physical book where I'm at. So not that that matters in the readathon world, but I've picked The Wife Between Us, and yeah, so new to me author, and that's this one. The next prompt is to read a book that starts with either the letter S for Sarah or L for Lindsay. And you should ignore all the obvious the and a type of a thing. So I am picking Stags, which is a book I talked about in one of my more recent book outlet hauls. And this is a YA mystery book. And I had seen this kind of a long time ago on Amazon and sort of hedged and never bought it, but it popped up on Book Outlet, so had to. It's like Book Outlet is like I feel like Book Outlet is like the boomerang, where if there was ever a book I hesitated about at some point in my life, but then it pops up on Book Outlet, it's fate telling me you're supposed to have this book because here it is for like $4. So I picked up Stags. Maybe that's just me rationalizing stuff. But this is kind of a one deadly weekend. It takes place kind of outside London, so sort of in the countryside in England. And I kind of read this a little bit secret history-ish in that there's sort of this inner clique of students at this, I don't know if it's like a prep school or a private school or what we're calling it. It's St. Aidan the Great School, which is what STAG stands for. And then you have this girl Greer, who's sort of the outsider and the scholarship kid, but she gets pulled into this inner circle of kids, and they invite her to this weekend getaway, and it sounds like stuff just is gonna go horribly wrong. Based on the fact that there's a bullseye on the chair, I'm guessing somebody's going to die. So again, I didn't read too much about it because I don't want to spoil any of it, but I'm really excited to read this. I'm just really intrigued. Like I said, it's been on my radar for a while. So, and I mean, in an effort to help myself, it's like just under 300 pages. So yeah, I'm picking something a little bit shorter. And the fifth and final prompt is to just read a book from your list. Any list. From your TBR, from your wish list, from something you want to revisit. It's just the perfect excuse to just pick anything that you want, carte blanche, that you want to read. And I love this as a prompt. I just love, just go for it, people. And I picked Frenemies by Megan Crane. And this was a book that's on my 2019 reread list. And if you haven't been following me, I basically picked 13 books that I wanted to revisit this year that were meaningful to me for some reason or another, and kind of want to reread them and see if they still resonate, and also just kind of revisit some old friends. And this book came out in 2007. I probably read it not that long after that. And it's set in Boston, where I used to live, which I love. It's around this circle of friends who went to college together. They have been in relationships with one another. There's all the complexities of sort of growing up, growing older, growing away from each other, kind of growing out of friendships, how friendships change over time, how sometimes, what bonded you together, something like college, doesn't always hold all of you together. And I just remember it being a wonderful story about friendship and something that I really connected to. And I very much had that circle of friends in Boston. We stayed there after we graduated college. It just gave me so many good feels, and it also very much hit home about how people do change as they go older and how relationships change and all of that beautiful stuff. So I'm very excited to reread this book. I'm hoping to get to it this week. It's also like a 300-page book. So like I said, I'm trying to not totally stack things in my favor, but I intentionally did not pick like a 500-page book for any of the books that I picked for the readathon. But very excited for this. Really enjoyed Megan Crane's writing. I think I had mentioned this in one of my other videos. I was lucky enough to do a writing seminar with Megan Crane too, and she had critiqued some of my writing, so I also have like very sentimental feelings about her as an author, and really enjoy a lot of her books. But this is my book on my list that I'm going to try and read. Okay, so this all feels super doable to me, completely reasonable. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to read 5 books in a week. That doesn't completely seem realistic, but I'm going to try. Hopefully things will go well. And also, you can double down on things or triple down on things. So like, Love in Other Words, this is a book Sarah recommended. It starts with an L for Lindsay, and I've never read Christina Lauren before. So technically, like, this fulfills 3 of the 5 prompts. With the exception of the Megan Crane book, all of the authors are new to me, so I can like double down on any of those. It's not a competition. I get all of that. It's fun to be able to have these prompts and just kind of see how well you do. But these are the books that I picked. And like I said, I am linking Sarah and Lindsay's channels down below. Don't forget to use hashtag BookList Readathon, so that way they can find you on Instagram, they can connect with people who are reading. They really want to know who's out there, what people are reading, and really engage with people. Like I said, this is the first readathon that they're doing, so I really want to support them and make sure this is crazy successful. Not that like I personally am going to be the tipping point in making this successful, but I love that they're doing this. Like I said, I love the prompts. I really enjoy their channel. So check out all the info down below. Definitely let me know if you're participating in this and what you're reading. And if you haven't subscribed, please do that. I would love to have you back, and I would love to continue to talk about books with everybody here. And for those who are returning, thank you for always coming back. Thank you to everybody for watching today. I don't know why I'm being super dramatic, but I am. And yeah, I will do a wrap up when all is said and done. My hope is that it's far less distressing than my Buzzwordathon one was. I wish everybody a great readathon, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks everybody. Have a good day. Bye.